what advantages does it offer to a practicing veterinarian? Like, what edge this will give to a veterinarian if they use artificial intelligence? Thoughts on future of artificial intelligence and veterinary medicine. Welcome to the Vet Experts by the Geek Veterinarian. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Aaron Smiley, a veterinarian tech entrepreneur, co-founder of VetSoap.AI, a revolutionary tool transforming veterinary documentation. Dr. Smiley, who engineered with his team VetSoap to revolutionize how veterinary medicine should look like in the future and revolutionize academia and clinics.
Yeah.
Welcome you, Dr. Aaron Smiley. Welcome to the Geek Vet. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's such a fun time to be a part of veterinary medicine with the technology that's coming out and how things are advancing. So thank you for having me. It's fun to be on the podcast, and it's fun to talk about this stuff because it's an exciting time for veterinary medicine.
Exactly. And welcome to the Geek Vet. Before we dive into and talk about Vet Soap AI, what let's start with the basics, right? What exactly is artificial intelligence in context of veterinary medicine?
Oof, right. And I'm out of my depth because I'm a veterinarian. I think in regards to veterinary medicine, it's a way to manage knowledge, right? So it's the next iteration of managing knowledge where you go from, let's say, the printing press. Okay, well, that was a way to manage knowledge. And you fast forward, through and even probably before the printing press was the modern library or a college, and this is just the next iteration of managing knowledge. And in a business like veterinary medicine, most of it is knowledge based business, knowledge based work. And so now we have this tool at our disposal that allows us to manage knowledge even better.
Right. Now, for veterinarian and students who want to explore AI, how they can get started? Like, are there specific tools or platform they should look into for artificial intelligence?
Probably would start out with, your top three or four. Pick one of them: Gemini, Claude, Chat GPT. And if I were a veterinary student, I would pay for the $20 a month. And then what my recommendation is start talking to it, start interacting with it. And what you're going to do is quickly your curiosity will take over. But the more that you engage with it, the more that you will be able to feel what its limitations are and, frankly, what it's able to do. So if you're a veterinary student, you could do as basic as record your lectures. So go to your lecture, make sure it's everything's your professor is comfortable with it. Record your lecture, and now on the iPhone, it's easy now to transcribe any kind of audio.
Yeah.
So you can record the lecture, get that transcribed right on your phone, copy and paste the transcription into one of the models and say, summarize it. Then if you want to go, the next step would be to start asking it questions. Hey, I was in a lecture about immunology and I don't quite understand IgG. Explain that to me. And then let the model explain it to you, because again, we're just managing knowledge. But if I were a veterinary student, that's where I'd start.
Perfect. And you can train in that artificial intelligence tool according to your needs, right? You can feed them, okay, go through this book, like for immunology or like anatomy. You can tell them, okay, go through this book and give me references as well when you are quoting me the answers. But so this is something a good
And
news. Like, pay $20, it's going to help you a lot.
Yep.
Perfect.
So the two specific projects that I've been playing around with is with projects inside of ChatGPT. You can do that.
Yeah.
And then Google LM Notebook allows you to do that as well. So just very specific for your viewers, those would be the two products that I played around with that let you do exactly what you were talking about.
Okay. And you can explore Claude as well if you don't want to work with ChatGPT or AI. And if you want to feel like a new or a cheaper version now, DeepSeek is also in the market. I have not got the access of it as of now, but let's see how it goes. Now, when we talk about veterinary medicine, we have two aspects. One is the clinical setting, and the other one is research and academia. How is AI currently being used in clinical settings? You run your own company, you have a business of artificial intelligence. How many veterinarians they have come to you and asked you about artificial intelligence use in their clinic, and what advantages does it offer to a practicing veterinarian? Like, what edge this will give to a veterinarian if they use artificial intelligence? Your take on this?
So right off the top, it's a time saver. So most
Hmm.
veterinarians come to me and say, "Can I use artificial intelligence to save time?" And what the company that we created does is saves the doctor time by creating a medical note. Now, the exciting part is from that medical note, we can ask the artificial intelligence, we can ask these models many, many different things. One question that I asked for over a year was, how burned out am I? And
Mm,
with each exam, then the artificial intelligence would give me a score, and then I plotted that over time, and it was fascinating to watch that. So the first thing that it'll do for the clinician is save them time, but that's the tip of the iceberg. That's the very beginning.
right. I'll before I move on to it, I'll come to the point of burnout, right? Veterinarians, they are at a higher risk of suicide and ideation, and they face a lot of mental health challenges. So how do you process this? Like, you told me that your platform at soap, it will tell you are you burned out or not. How does that thing go? How, what kind of data the AI looks for? What are the markers? Like, they, how, what's the parameters it goes through?
So it's the parameters are based on the prompt that's being put in. So when we look at that, what we're saying is, okay, what's the doctor's communication? What's their communication of empathy? How well do they connect to the animal owner? So it's subjective, and most of those human to human interactions, even in psychology, I mean, most of those are a subjective science. This is not engineering or mathematics. So it's a subjective call by the AI, but their AI is measuring what you ask it to measure. And I had 5 criteria. I think it was communication and empathy and speed. So though, and I can't remember the other two off the top of my head. But then to take that score and then average it, and to be able to track with multiple data points each day on how I'm doing, it gives us a real idea if we start to see trends in certain ways to go, oh, can we intervene to help that doctor be less burned out?
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, good mental health, good treatment of animal. Perfect. Now we have talked about artificial intelligence application in a clinical setting. Now, what, as you have worked with academics, what's your take on plagiarism in the research field? Like, it's a hot topic for every researcher, every research student, right? You need to write articles, you need to, how does it, even though Turnitin is a big name, but some universities, what percentage it gives, they say it might be plagiarized, it might not be plagiarized, right? So there is a note at the bottom of that report that Turnitin produces. So what's your take on artificial intelligence and plagiarism?
I think we're going to have to talk about it as an academic group. I think we're going to have to talk about it. I don't have a firm opinion because I don't think that I'm going to fall in the camp that says don't use it, because
Okay.
it would be as if someone were taking away a really powerful tool. Like, oh, well, don't use the printing press. You might get something wrong. Well, yeah, we need to figure out how to engage with the printing press. So I think that
Exactly.
there is a lot of conversation, and at the same time, we don't want just plagiarism, and we don't. I think even moreover than plagiarism is a lack of unique ideas, right? Because the artificial intelligence is just running a math problem. So what we don't want is just more echoes. We don't want just, we want academia and research does is gives us new, unique, creative ideas that are so vital to our profession and to society as a whole. So I would want to think about how we can use artificial intelligence from an academic standpoint to continue to be creative and generate new things versus just using it as a faster way to mimic or echo what previous research has done.
Okay. Okay. But like, you are in that support of artificial intelligence use, even I am, but what that parameter we should have, okay, beyond this thing, artificial use is not acceptable, right? So there's a lot of things we need to think about. What's one thing you will look for if you are in a research setting, you are a principal scientist, you are running your own research, And then what are some of the few pointers you will look in the research so you don't go beyond our use or like abuse of artificial intelligence? As you said, it's a powerful tool. Indeed, it's a powerful tool. We need to, what's that thing you look for?
It's a little bit outside of my depth because I'm not actively doing research. I mean, there's somebody that could speak into that better. That's a good question. What's outside of the realm? Golly, I think to acknowledge it, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe to what would be outside the realm is to not disclose the tools that you're using. I
Okay.
think that, so I would be high on transparency.
Say that you are using an artificial intelligence tool or not. That's the thing. Okay. Perfect.
And I take it back to a simplistic analogy. I mean, whether or not you need to handwrite all of your documents. So we make sure that there's not somebody else. What are you talking about? I'm going to use my computer and a word processor. No. Well, it's just the next iteration of technology. So I tend to be very cautious of people that are naysayers about technology because I say, well, are you driving a horse in a cart or are you in an automobile?
A movie.
I drive a car. Well, I don't know. It feels like you're dealing with technology.
Technology, right? Exactly. You need to be susceptible and evolve with technology, right? Perfect. Now, while AI offers many benefits, what are some of the major drawbacks or challenges associated with its adoption in veterinary medicine?
I think you still have to know what you're doing. So, with a knowledge based business, if you do not have any knowledge, you have a greater risk of getting yourself in trouble because you have access but no verification. So, the risk is to
Hmm.
use it without any level of education. So, you must have either the knowledge or to be able to corroborate or find proof of the knowledge before you take action.
Let's talk about VetSoap AI. What is it and how does it work?
It records the conversation between the doctor and the client in the exam room and then creates a medical note. And then from that medical note and that conversation, we can iterate multiple different things. But on the most basic level, that's what it is. It organizes the conversation into a really good medical note.
Perfect, perfect. Now, for clinics that want to integrate VetSoap, what's the process is like? How seamless is the transition? So,
Very
if I run a hospital of three, four, five veterinarians under me, and how can I adopt and like if I'm a first time user?
You need the internet, you need a browser, and you need a microphone. Once you have that, you're off to the races. So you sign up and then you open up on a tablet, on your phone, on the computer. As long as you have a browser, a microphone, and the internet, you hit record and you start recording those conversations, and then it generates a note. It's compatible with any kind of information system like a electronic medical record because you simply copy and paste the note into your medical record. So very user friendly. It's very sticky in the sense that once people start using it, they rarely stop, and it's pretty easy to get started. If you can hit record on your phone or on your computer, you can do it.
It's plug and play, very easy to use. Now I
Plug
want
and
to
play.
now before I move to the Q&A session, which is I'm very much excited for. I've got a lot of amazing questions from our veterinary audience who are interested into using artificial intelligence. My question is, how do you train VetSoap AI? Like, what are the what goes in the back end? Because I feel like
Hmm.
you are a veterinarian, you are working with tech, right? So there is amalgamation, and I want more veterinarians to come out as tech entrepreneurs, right? So
Hmm.
what's something goes in the background? What's happening in the back end of VetSoap AI?
I can't tell you, some of it's proprietary, so I can't
That's
tell
all
you,
right.
but
That's all right.
we work with, so we can, it's a pretty flexible platform where we can interact with multiple different large language models that are secure and safe, but we engage with multiple large language models to be able to convert that conversation and then extrapolate information. So, and I didn't write the code, right? I mean, there are three other people that are with me. So I'm more of the idea guy, and then the execution on the technical standpoint. What's unique and fun right now is that you can be a veterinarian and lean into the tech space because of the other artificial intelligence that's available, right?
Indeed.
From Google Code Assistant, right? So if you want to get involved with it, either find a friend that really knows what she's doing or he's doing, or just start digging in because access to information now is a lot easier.
Perfect. Exactly. Exactly. And you can build your new artificial intelligence tool. Okay, now off
For sure.
to the questions. My first very
All
favorite
right.
question: will artificial intelligence replace veterinarians?
No, no. Just like there's no technology that replaces human beings. So, as a human being, I think that we are unique. Our minds are very, very plastic. But as we evolve and technology allows us to do even bigger and better things, now we have a responsibility with that. I mean, the easiest one is nuclear technology. When you think of nuclear
Yes.
technology, it's amazing how much energy you can generate that's clean. Obviously, there's some waste, but then there are massive, massive responsibilities with nuclear energy as well. So I view it as another thing of technology. If this will be a powerful tool, it'll never replace the human because our minds, once we have availability of something like this, we will go on to the next bigger, better thing.
Amazing. So veterinarians are not being replaced. And you have to be a conscious user of any technology.
Absolutely. And our job will change, right? Just like you think about before the automobile. Well, there were a lot more veterinarians that were working on horses.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's in the West, there's a lot more veterinarians working on dogs and cats. Okay. So
Yes.
things will change. The world changes, but you won't be replaced because, you're unique. You're unique.
Yeah, you are a human. That's a complex
You are
machine.
human. Very.
Next question is, how can artificial intelligence play a vital role in disease diagnosis? Like a veterinarian's major work is disease diagnostics and treatment. So how I can use and play with artificial intelligence in pinpointing my disease diagnostics.
I think first from the easiest way is a very good list of differential diagnoses. So when you're engaged with artificial intelligence on the most basic level, now you can engage with it and say, in essence, make sure I'm not missing anything, right? Give me a high quality list of differentials. I'm doing that all the time. Like, oh, I have a confusing case. I mean, it's such a humbling profession because there's so much information. But two or three
Yes.
times this week, I had to go back through a case and say, tell me what I'm missing. This doesn't make sense. And so that's the easiest way to start to engage with the artificial intelligence to help improve your diagnostic ability.
Right, right. And it will help you a lot. Like it's asking a colleague about your questionnaire. It's at your disposal.
Completely agree. And what I encourage my staff to do and other veterinarians to do is engage with one of those models as in language. So, the more you can just interact with it and not try to overthink it, the better it works.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that a tool is going through whole of the web and then it's giving you information. On the other hand, you cannot have access and you cannot go through all the plethoras of information on the internet. Amazing. Where do existing clinics get started with artificial intelligence? What should be their first step, considering change is often difficult? Like veterinarians or veterinary management, they are pretty much busy, right? There is a lot of thing going on. So how they can transition it in?
I would start with a soap note because it's an immediate pain relief to the doctor. So
Right.
when you start using artificial intelligence to write your medical note, you immediately get a pain relief. And so then for the rest of the staff, it doesn't feel like you're having to learn something new. It feels like there's something that's helping you.
Okay. Now the next question I have is about your competitors. What are different AI tools available to assist in veterinary treatment and diagnosis? Or we don't have any other than VetSoap?
No, there are tons. There are tons of competitors that are doing the exact same thing. I think if you're out shopping, what you want to look for is the quality of the note. I would say that our company has a really high quality medical note. You want to look at how they keep your data secure. That's important.
Okay.
And then I would say you're
Yes.
looking at price and you're saying, okay, where are we at with price on this one? But those would be the top three things that I would look for.
Data security is very much important as much as the price and the quality.
Correct.
Which areas of veterinary medicine will be most impacted by artificial intelligence and which specialty remains largely unaffected? What about imaging or surgery?
Surgery, I think, will be the least affected because it's a you're doing something with your hands. My younger brother's a dentist, and I think that
Okay.
he can interact with artificial intelligence by helping him read X-rays, but he's still the one that's in the mouth cutting the tooth. So I think surgery will be the least impacted. Obviously, radiology and imaging has already been impacted. Part of the industry that's knowledge based will be dramatically impacted. If you're outside of surgery, the whole thing's going to get changed.
Mm. But I have this thought related to surgery. I'm an imaging guy, but with surgery, there is a lot of robotic surgeries are going on, right? And it's becoming more perfect and perfect. If you connect both artificial intelligence and robotic surgery, I feel like surgeons will also get replaced.
They will. It'll take longer because of the cost to
Yes,
start. So as soon as you
yes,
introduce hardware, you have a cost factor. With software, it doesn't the cost addition is so minimal that it's so much faster to integrate. So yes, you're right. I mean, the robotics and surgery will definitely change, but it'll be a longer change because it's so expensive to create that robot.
yes, yes, yeah. But you are on the radar as well. If someone with a good amount of funding and then they start building it very much cheaper, surgeons will also get replaced. All right,
For
perfect.
sure.
We are coming to the end of Q&A. Will artificial intelligence shape clinical diagnostic and treatment, and what impacts might it have on veterinary job market? We have discussed this for specialty, and how do you see it if we talk about the economics of veterinarians across the globe?
I think in the United States, the demand for veterinary medicine is still very, very high. So I think what it'll do is offer in I would say in the next 2 to 3 years, we will be able to increase the supply of veterinary medicine. So the veterinarian will supervise more and do less technical work, which is what the position is designed to do. Over the long haul, over the next 10 to 15 years, there might be a decreased demand for veterinarians and an increased demand for a veterinary nurse. I think that that'll be an interesting thing that the economy sorts out. But in the immediacy, I think that veterinarians will be able to meet the demand, at least in the states of what we're trying to do right now.
Right. Let's see how it goes, and let's see a great amalgamation of veterinary medicine and artificial intelligence. All right, we
For
have come
sure.
to an end, Dr. Smiley. This has been an incredible conversation. Before we wrap, any final thoughts on future of artificial intelligence and veterinary medicine?
I would encourage your listeners to experiment with it because your audience is a highly engaged, highly intelligent audience. So my encouragement with people is to engage with the technology so that they can form an opinion and make a really good argument. Because I'm wrong about most things, and I want the veterinary community to be involved and to be active, so that when we get together and as a community we have these conversations, we have robust arguments that then can shape this technology into our profession in the best way possible. So I that's my encouragement is experiment, don't put your head down and pretend like it's not happening. Engage with it. Be a curious scientist because that's who you are, that's what you do, so that we can have really really strong arguments to figure this thing out.
Perfect, perfect, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, listeners. If you want to learn more about VetSoap.AI, check out VetSoap.AI and don't forget to follow us for more exciting discussions on veterinary medicine and innovation. See you next time. Thank you for your interest in veterinary medicine.